How's it going, retro people? My name is Brad, this is Retro Style Spotlight, and this is your news, notes, history, and retro games to play for the week of November 8th, 2016. Last week's tutorial was all about the Neo Geo MVS and the Neo Geo CD, utilizing Final Burn Alpha and MES. SNK's Neo Geo line of games from the 90s to early 2000s are generally regarded as players' favorites, being some of the best quality games out there for the arcade, and I would probably agree. So if you are interested in enjoying some Neo Geo goodness, head on over to the tutorial in the link below. Speaking of arcade goodness, good segue, Daytona USA and the Cruis'n series of racing arcade games are finally being brought back with sequels. Daytona 3 Championship USA is coming back with remastered versions of old favorites, brand new tracks, and will come in gigantic cabs outfitted with 47-inch LED screens, 8-player compatibility, mounted cameras, and under-seat engines. More info and even the design of the cab is going to apparently be at the IAAPA Attractions Expo this November. As for Cruis'n, Raw Thrills, a game development studio that was founded by Cruis'n USA's co-creator Eugene Jarvis, is stepping in to take over Nintendo's dormant racing franchise. Testing cabs have had a few different names, such as Cruis'n Adventure and Cruis'n Redline. However, the game will be called the Cruis'n Blast. It was announced in early October, and the trailer for the final product has recently been revealed. It looks fairly authentic, especially considering the founder of Raw Thrills, so this game will be an interesting blast from the past. While Daytona 3 Championship USA is still yet to be revealed fully to the world, Cruis'n Blast is set for release in December of 2016. For those that don't know, emulation has been available in some form or another since the 90s, when there were emulators available for DOS PCs back in the day. Even back then, you could play Atari and NES games from your good old IBM keyboard. However, what if I were to say that this has set up some extremely inaccurate expectations for emulation for the last 20 years? It's true, NES games can run on fairly weak hardware, but what if I said that's because the emulator developers have made a ton of concessions and the games you are playing are technically not accurate? For it to be truly accurate, you need a properly decent machine, roughly 4 to 8 times more powerful than the original system, or so the internet figure goes. Well, the NES Classic has been torn open, and the machine is sporting a quad-core CPU for Nintendo's own cycle-accurate emulator. Granted, this is also so that games can be displayed in full 1080p, with scaling and filters being able to be applied, so the machine requirements are a bit more hefty. So while a Raspberry Pi Zero could have feasibly been used in the production of the NES Mini, Nintendo went with all-winner R16 system on a chip. Assuming Nintendo didn't make any alteration to the chip's specs, then it includes a dual-core Mali 400 GPU, which could be powerful enough to pump out as many as 55 million triangles per second in its 28mm 500 MHz variant. There's also a quad-core ARM Cortex A7 CPU, which has been clocked at 1.2 GHz in smartphones, as well as 256 MB of DDR3 RAM and 512 MB of NAND flash storage. So granted, even at full cycle accurate emulation with filters and post-processing, this may actually be a tad overkill. While technically more powerful than a new Nintendo 3DS, this may have been the most affordable, and then they proceeded to underclock it a tad to save on power draw. However, the point still stands. Nintendo wanted a fairly powerful machine to emulate 35-year-old video games so that they can look the best. Let's just hope this emulation is really superb and far exceeds the 3DS, Wii, and Wii U Virtual Console ventures. While technically good emulation from the Big N, there are other emulators out there for free that can run circles around the Virtual Console portion of Nintendo's emulation. Here's to hoping that the NAND can be dumped and we can take a peek behind the NES Mini's curtain. Diablo 3 had a very rocky start when it was released, but over the years has taken the mantle back for the best ARPG series of all time. I really do play Diablo 3 quite a lot, so I was happy to learn that Diablo 1 was being fully recreated inside of Diablo 3. I was ecstatic. Along with news of new characters at the most recent BlizzCon, this is truly fantastic. I really love the entire Diablo series, playing it as early as 2000. I remember getting that Diablo 2 demo, the music, the sound, the gameplay, maybe go back to Diablo 1, pick up that full Diablo 2 and its expansion, and forever become a Blizzard fan. So Diablo 1 inside of Diablo 3 is great news. For me. Apparently, however, there is a section of the internet that is very mad. Surprise, surprise. And I can understand why, to an extent. But in the same token, baffles me. The rumor was that there could be a Diablo 3 expansion, or even Diablo 4 being unveiled. And while Diablo 1 in D3 and a new character, albeit a fan favorite, does pale in comparison to a new game, what is on offer will be fantastic and still have that Blizzard quality. Diablo 1 is 20 years old, and many gamers have probably not played it. While an expansion or new game would have been much more exciting, I still think there's a bigger issue here. Gamers expect too much. Now, I don't mean to say that you shouldn't hold developers and publishers to a high standard. After all, we spend our hard-earned cash on their products, so to some degree, we should expect a good value. But I do think that we place unfair expectations on the developers. We always say that we don't want to hear about a game until it's actually ready. Don't show a game too early. But then we blast them when they don't hold to our expectations, citing, "Damn it, I just want to see the game. Show it to us already." My opinion on this matter is that Blizzard doesn't want another Diablo 3 fiasco, and that Diablo 3 was delayed a lot. It was delayed for years. When it finally did come out, it wasn't exactly what players were expecting, so they went back and fixed it to be one of the better game values out there. So with that expectation, and Blizzard's generally stringent quality control, I think they did the right thing and not show off Diablo 4, if it even exists currently, because then this creates an unfair expectation level. Think back to No Man's Sky a few weeks ago. While clearly there were promises not kept here, there is some fault to be had on the part of the gamer. A lot of this could have been curtailed if No Man's Sky had been revealed a lot closer to release. Then I think there might have been less of a chance of a lot of those promises that they've made slip, and that expectation level from the gamers would have been kept in check. So in all reality, this benefits the gamer. I also realized that I totally used Diablo 1 here so that I could go into this rant, but I feel like some of you need to hear it. Diablo 1 in Diablo 3 will be no less than awesome and fun. There will be the classic levels, inspired if not directly lifted music and sound effects, and even a filter to make it look like the original Diablo. If you can't wait, then I would suggest downloading the Diablo HD and Beelzebub mods to outfit that experience. So play the original Diablo, play the remake in Diablo 3, and enjoy the game as it is until we do hear from the team about Diablo 4. Just have fun. They are video games after all. Now it's time for the Retro Remix Song of the Week, and this week's song is titled Wet Grass Inspired and is directly inspired by Diablo 1's Tristram theme. While only technically a remix because it does incorporate strong portions of the original song, this very early remix is still a lot of fun to listen to. Being remix number 129 from the year 2000, it is easy to see that OC Remix has progressed a lot in the last 16 years. However, some of the older remixes are still a joy, so check this one out when you get the chance. This month, in 1998, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was released both in Japan and North America. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is an action-adventure video game developed and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo 64. Originally developed for the Nintendo 64 DD peripheral, the game was instead released on a 32MB cartridge, the largest capacity cartridge Nintendo produced at that time. Ocarina of Time is the fifth game in the Legend of Zelda series and the first with 3D graphics. It was followed by a direct sequel, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, in 2000. In Ocarina of Time, the player controls Link in the land of Hyrule. Link sets out on a quest to stop Ganondorf, the king of the Gerudo tribe, from obtaining the Triforce, a sacred relic that grants the wishes of its holder. He travels through time and navigates various dungeons to awaken the sages, who have the power to seal Ganondorf away forever. Music plays an important role. To progress, the player must learn to play several songs on an ocarina. Ocarina of Time's gameplay introduced features such as the target lock-on system and context-sensitive buttons that have since become common in 3D adventure games. In Japan, more than 820,000 copies were sold in 1998, making it the 10th best-selling game of that year. During its lifetime, 1.14 million copies of Ocarina of Time were sold in Japan, and over 7.6 million copies were sold worldwide. The game won the grand prize in the Interactive Art Division at the Japan Media Arts Festival and won 6 honors at the 2nd Annual Interactive Achievement Awards. As of 2016, it is the highest rated game on review aggregating website Metacritic, with a score of 99 out of 100. In 2008 and 2010, Guinness World Records listed Ocarina of Time as the highest rated game ever reviewed. It is considered by many critics and gamers to be one of the greatest video games of all time, including myself. Ocarina of Time has had 4 major re-releases. It was originally ported to the GameCube alongside other Legend of Zelda games, as well as Ocarina of Time Master Quest, which featured reworked dungeons with new puzzles and was included in the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. It was also ported to the iQue player in 2003 for China and was made available via the Virtual Console service for the Wii and Wii U in 2007 and 2015 respectively. The re-releases were all well received, although some critics considered the game outdated even during the initial re-release. Other reviewers believed it had aged well. A remake for the Nintendo 3DS, Ocarina of Time 3D, was released in 2011 with updated graphics and new auto-stereoscopic 3D effects. It includes Master Quest's rearranged dungeons, which are absent from the Wii, Wii U, and iQue versions. If you are a patron that helped pledge to be a part of our Patreon campaign and are watching this early, then thank you very much. For those of you who pledged at the producer level role, your names are now on screen. If you are interested in seeing your name as part of RetroStyle Spotlight, the tutorials, and have it be inside of the LaunchBox app, then head on over to the Patreon link in the description below. At just $2 a month, you can see content like RSS early, and at the higher tiers, you start to unlock things like exclusive Discord server access, producer credits, and a personal hangout with a LaunchBox team. Any dollar amount anyone pledges to our campaign is helping us create a better product on every front. So that was RetroStyle Spotlight for the week of November 8th, 2016. All of the relevant links to everything you heard in this edition of RSS will be in the description below. Remember, you can sign up for a LaunchBox forum account, and if LaunchBox is giving you a beautiful library of games, then why not purchase a premium license of LaunchBox for $20 to access Big Box, which is a controller and couch-oriented version of LaunchBox. The LaunchBox games database is available for any users to contribute to as well. Jason, Kirsten, and I, and the rest of the team have a lot planned for our community, so if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're doing a tutorial video every Friday, live developer sessions, LaunchBox news, Q&As, and a ton more content in the future. Let us know what you think of RSS and any feedback you may have on it. My name is Brad, the link to my channel is below, and remember, freaks and geeks, to play more games, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day!